Hello and welcome to the latest from Hearts Standard. My name is Joel Sked and I am delighted to be joined once again by James Kearney. How's it going, James?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Yeah, as usual. I'm usually in a good mood. I'm still in a good mood. Yeah,
Good,
doing all
good.
right. How are you getting on?
That's good to hear. Yeah, not too bad. Been having neck issues this week, so it's been I've been less in a good mood than usually. So that's hopefully coming to an end sooner rather than later. We are not here to talk about my ailments, so we are here to talk about Heart of Midlothian Football Club and kind of discuss the latest that's been happening around Tynecastle. So we'll chat about Lawrence Shankland. We'll chat about the link that emerged today with Malachi Boateng, who was at Dundee last season. Just kind of briefly talk on that, just because I'm not sure how much is in it. Still looking into that. And what else is it? Jamie MacDonald returned to Tynecastle with the B team, and we of course will discuss Hearts Standard live event in partnership with Big Hearts, which will be coming to Tynecastle Park next week, but we'll discuss that later on in the show. We'll kick off with Lawrence Shankland, and yeah, it's kind of just rewind into January, where the kind of status quo, where Lawrence Shankland has been loosely linked with Rangers. There has been no bid or interest expressed to Hearts regarding Shankland, who is now into the final 12 months of his contract. So yeah, it's probably taken a wee bit longer than expected around Shankland. The noise to increase once more around Shankland and his future. Of course, Rangers are in there. Graham says the media are getting boring with this nonsense. Not one proper quote that Rangers even interested. It's always been media driven, just like January. So yeah, it's one where, to provide a wee bit of light into it, I do think there is, from what I'm aware, there is interest at Rangers in Shankland. However, it's not. It's within Ibrox, there is probably differing opinions around the interest in Shankland, where there's probably there are people within Rangers who are thinking he would be a good signing, whereas there are a couple of kind of key figures who, namely the manager, who's unsure about Shankland's suitability to what Philip Clement wants to play. So there's something there, but it's just not it's not concrete at the moment, where it would result in Hearts getting a bid from Rangers. So effectively, it's just the same place as we're in January. Shankland is a very good striker, but there has not been a concrete offer from any club regarding.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me like you say, there's been no official or formal correspondence between the two clubs or anything like that.
No.
But like you say, there's probably some interest from some at Ibrox who think that Shankland would be a good signing. And for what it's worth, they're probably right. He probably would be a good signing. Let's hope it never happens. I don't want to see it. But, I think he probably would do well over there. But, let's hope he stays in the meantime. But again, you're right. I mean, nothing's really changed substantially since January. Shankland is still Hearts' best and most important player. He's still not signed that contract extension, which means you've got a year left as it stands. But there's also that side of it where, from Hearts' perspective, there's not really any reason to budge or to lower your valuation or anything like that, because as we've talked about a lot last season, if this is going to be this is likely going to be the last season for a while, where third place is going to enter the Europa League at the playoff round, depending on the cup winners, of course, and there's going to be those guaranteed European games for the following season. And that's worth, what we're talking about, £4 or £5 million, something like that. So it's, again, that's got to be the jumping off point for negotiations. It just has to, because if you take Shankland out of the team, Hearts maybe don't finish third, and then all of a sudden you've lost all that money. So again, that's got to be the jumping off point. And I would think that, particularly the likes of the Old Firm, Rangers rarely pay that kind of money for anyone. Never mind a 28-year-old with 1 year left in his deal, who not everyone's even convinced would work. So again, I don't think there's too much to be worried. I think that, this speculation will inevitably keep going on over all summer. I'll be honest, I'm like you. I thought it'd happen a bit sooner. I was surprised it's taken this long. But I don't think it's a particularly like realistic prospect, I suppose, for Hearts fans to be worried about the fact that, you know, because I just think the amount of money that it would take Hearts to actually part with Shankland for, I just can't see Rangers paying it. And so I think that, yeah, I'd be a bit more worried if, you know, maybe an English Championship club or something like that came in, where, you know, they've maybe got slightly deeper pockets and they don't bulk at paying those kind of fees. But certainly for the time being, I'm quite relaxed about it. I'm pretty confident that come the first game of the season against Rangers in just over a week, and then even beyond that, Shankland will still be a Hearts player.
Yeah, I'm in the same position as you. I think Barry Anderson had a piece out today in the Evening News where he talked to Naismith, and I think it was put to Naismith that valuation, that it's effectively you're looking at the money that Hearts can make from qualifying for Europe, and it's a weird one because he's in his final year of his contract. No club are going to pay what he's worth to. I don't think any club are going to pay what he's worth to Hearts, and there's kind of that balance to it. And
I think not in Scotland. As I say, that see if English Championship clubs came in, you know, some of those like £4 or £5 million, that's chump change. Let's be honest, to some of these teams, you know.
But to a 29, so kind of guy's going to be 29 in August. He's not played in England, so there's that aspect to consider. I just don't see any club paying what Hearts rightly want for him, just because of how valuable he is to the team and how valuable he is to Europe. So if like Hearts were to sell him for, like, for example, $2.5 million, you'd be quite disappointed in that, just because that's it kind of goes against how much that kind of European football is worth, and the kind of the message that sends. So yeah, like you, I'm pretty comfortable at the moment where the situation is with Shankland. I can definitely see him being at the club the rest of this season, and then basically assessing his options in 6 months' time, when he's able to kind of speak with other clubs and seeing where it leaves him. Because I mean, Hearts, and then when it comes to the end of this season, then Hearts could be in a stronger position to do like a deal, because they've given him a really good contract offer. But Shankland obviously rightly values, and his agency value his talent and want a really good contract, and whether that would be there come next summer, things might change at Rangers, and they might just see him as a much more attractive proposition. But yeah, kind of at the moment, you're just looking at Shankland being at Hearts, and he's not the type to kick a fuss every time he speaks to media. He's just concentrating on his football, and he kind of showed that last season as well. So yeah, it's while I can understand it's going to be frustrating for Hearts fans, because this is going to rumble on for the next 5 to 6 weeks until the January, so the summer transfer window is closed at the end of August. But I like you, pretty a relaxed position to be in. Hearts are effectively in a really strong position.
They are, exactly. I mean, you're right. I mean, it might well come to the point where in 12 months' time he decides, right, I'm off. And to be honest, it'd be hard to begrudge him that, because I think
absolutely,
the age, the career that he's had, he's probably got one big contract left in him, you would think. So, like, you know, if he did move elsewhere to get that, fair dues, I get it. But I think right now most Hearts fans would probably take that deal of going, okay, he's here for another year, then you lose him for nothing in a year. Like, that sounds like a good deal to me. Like, yeah, you know, like I'd, if I was in charge, that's what I'd be going for, rather than, like you say, accepting a bid that's, you know, a lowball bid compared to what he's actually worth. And then you miss out on the goals, and then you potentially miss out on Europe, those guaranteed European games as well. So, no, I think like you said, I think Hearts are in a really strong negotiating position, and I think they make a good point as well, where if Hearts have a good season, you know, the finances improve again, maybe they're in a position to say, all right, Lawrence, we know you want your 20 grand a week or whatever it is, whatever number he's got written down. Here you go. No, I don't think you'll get that at Hearts. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to get 20 grand a week at Hearts. But, you know, that idea of going, okay, fine, our finances have improved to that point where actually now we can match your demands rather than having to go elsewhere. So I'd love to see him stay at Hearts. I think I'd be surprised if he moved on this season. Next summer, that'll be one we need to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, and just into the Rangers as well, it's not as if they're in a position to offer silly money as well, because they have got their own issues with the stadium, and Clermont has came out and said that they probably have to sell before they can kind of buy. And I think this is the first time this has happened, but while we're recording, it's just been announced Toby Sibbick has left and joined Wigan Athletic on a permanent deal for an undisclosed fee. So although there's really much to add to around Sibbick, that he was expected to leave, he was told that he was able to go, and it's probably a good move for all around.
Yeah, I think, again, like you say, it's not exactly a huge surprise. We know that Sibbick and Atkinson as well are likely to move on this summer. They've both had chances last season, maybe didn't always take them. And yeah, I guess the only question that really needs to be asked here at this point is the undisclosed fee. What is it? Things like. But I mean, at the end of the day, they're still getting cash in for a player who was surplus to requirements, and I think that can very much only be a good thing. It seems like a win-win all round. Sibbick gets his move where he hopefully gets some more minutes. Hearts free up some space in the wage bill, and managed to bring a few quid in at the same time. So yeah, again, pretty standard piece of business, I suppose. And I guess that's the only thing, if it, let's face it, undisclosed fee, that could be 20 quid, that could be 200 grand, we don't know.
Yeah.
But obviously any money you get is obviously a bonus. But yeah, good move for him.
Yeah, it's probably over the piece, probably been slightly disappointing, or underwhelming is probably the better way to describe it, as him coming back to Hearts. He's obviously had high moments where he had a really good spell last season where he was kind of doubted, and he came to the fores within the defensive setup, and of course will always have that goal against Hibs in the Scottish Cup. But
took the words right in my mouth.
Yeah. He's never really held down a starting role within the team, certainly under Naismith. And there's times where I'm just thinking, we spoke about it before. He could do with the frustration is that he's got a lot of attributes there, but aggression. I just felt that at times he could have been more assertive and more authoritative with his defending. So yeah, it's and especially like Gerald Taylor coming in, Daniel Oyegoki, it's the best for all parties if he were to move on like he's done, and now he'll go to Wigan and hopefully for his sake get a run of games in his best position, which I probably think is on the right of a back three, but who knows? He is. We'll leave that for Wigan fans to look forward to. In terms of other transfer business, Jamie MacDonald has returned to the club. He has signed a 1-year deal with the B team, which I think is a pretty sensible move actually when you look at it on the surface, because Harry Stone is left on loan. He's gone to Ayr United in the Championship, and then Liam McFarlane has left as well, and he's spending the season with East Fife. Again, a good move for him, having played in the B team over the last 2 seasons. Now it's time to step up and plays the goalkeeper further up the pyramid. Behind that, though, Hearts have just got a couple of teenagers, a 16 and 15-year-old, as options, whereas MacDonald is brilliant in terms of coming in and being able to play regularly, but also it's not a big issue as if they feel they want to play the 16-year-old, 15-year-old, then he can kind of step aside, but he's there as huge experience. He knows what it's like to be a Hearts number one. He knows what it's like to come through the academy. So that's absolutely massive, and you've seen it. You've seen it in England, where big clubs have signed players at the end of their career to play in the under 23s or 21s, and it's kind of just an important role to help these younger guys develop and someone to look up to. Yeah,
absolutely. And look, when I first saw it, I was surprised because like I'm sure there's a lot of people who look at it and go, "Wait a minute, B teams for kids. Why are we signing the oldest man in Scotland to go play and goals? That's crazy." But you're right. I mean, it does make a lot of sense when you think of the guys who would have actually played this season, they're away on loan. The other 2 guys is maybe a bit soon to be chucking them in every week, and so yeah, there's going to be that kind of balancing act. And to be honest, even after that, still quite surprised just that Jamie MacDonald went for it. To be honest, just because he's a good goalie, and I'm sure he could get a game playing the Championship, no bother. I'd take him at Thistle in a heartbeat, put it that way. After that one goal the other night. If anyone's not seen it, by the way, give that a quick look. You won't be disappointed. Absolutely hilarious.
No, very, very funny.
But yeah, I mean, so in the fact that you're going to have a goalie of that stature playing in the Lowland League in the 5th tier is, it's quite remarkable. But like you say, the fact that you've got someone who's so experienced, who's got a really good career, who's got that connection to Hearts already, who's come through the academy, who knows it all. There's basically no one better you'd want if you want to bring in a kind of older guy to give the young guys a bit of a steer and to help develop them, help get them ready for the B team. There's no one better you could have. So again, I think it's a great bit of business from Hearts, to be honest, just because I think getting a player of that calibre who's willing to go to that level and is also willing to go, okay, but I understand I'm actually here to develop the other guys, and when they're ready, I'll step out of the team. I think it's a really good deal.
Yeah, it was certainly raised a few eyebrows, but I thought a very, very smart move. And just to kind of shed some light, I remember speaking to Jamie MacDonald maybe around this time last year, just for his input to the Edward Malaviv kind of features, and just chatting. I think he just recently signed for Greenock Morton. The kind of agreement at Morton was that he didn't have to go through every day and train, because he didn't want to have to sit in the car. I think kind of injury issues and all that brings it to travel to the other side of the country, where he's based through the east. So it takes a lot of kind of that daily travel, daily commute out of the equation. So he's playing with someone local. He's kind of come full circle and playing for Hearts. So I think it's kind of talked about Toby Sibbick and a move that suits all parties. I think this is a move that certainly suits both parties involved, in terms of MacDonald continuing to play with Hearts, team he grew up at, and then Hearts getting like you said, a very good goalkeeper. Instantly you're thinking he's going to be the best goalkeeper in the Lowland League by far.
I would think so. I'll be honest, I don't watch much Lowland League, so I couldn't start ringing off goalies or anything. But again, just based on the career he's had, having watched him play, he's a very good goalie. And again, I'm surprised he's decided to, take that drop down to that level. I'm sure he's getting well remunerated for it. Maybe that's probably a part of it as well. He's probably getting better wages than he'd get maybe in a League One or League Two club or something like that. But all in all, I think it's, again, like I say, I think it's a really smart piece of business. And I think that in terms of having that experienced figure to really help guide these new these guys who are 15, 16, again, I don't think there's much better you could have hoped for, really. And I guess the funny thing about it though is, am I right in saying that? So obviously Jamie MacDonald's coming in, he's going to work with the B team, being brought in as this experienced older head to kind of help these guys. But he's still significantly younger than Craig Gordon, who's in the first team. It was quite a strange quirk.
Yeah, there'll be, I think maybe 5-6 years in it.
Is there as much as that? Geez, oh.
Sorry. There's 3 years in it.
3? Okay, that's not so bad then. But it's just quite funny. We need an older, experienced guy to come in and teach the young kids. We've got an even older guy, he's busy. We need him for the first team.
So it's in terms of, because I kind of asked, I don't think if there was an issue with first team goalkeepers, I don't think they could go, if he's played in the Lowland League, move up. I think if he moved up to Hearts, that would be like a move into a different club. That's, I think there was an issue with Craig Gordon wasn't able to play with the B team last season when he's come back from injury. So there's a lot of these wee rules, peculiarities between the Lowland League and the first team, and they just seem to change every year. So I'm not sure what the situation is, but I'm hoping to speak to Liam Fox tomorrow ahead of the B team season, which kicks off on Friday evening at home at Easley Park to East Stirlingshire. So get a wee bit more insight into that. Now, before we talk about Hearts Standard Live, we'll just quickly mention the reported rumour with Malachi Boateng, the centre midfielder from Crystal Palace, who was...
Sorry to annoy, I'm going to jump in. It's surely Malachi.
What did I say, Malachi?
Yeah, it's surely Malachi.
Yeah, it's just me butchering his name, which I really apologise. Malachi Boateng, who had, I think was on loan at Arbroath to begin with in Scotland, and...
He was at Queen's Park.
Queen's Park, that was it. It was Queen's Park. It was when they were duking it out with Dundee to get promoted from the Championship, and then he joined Dundee on loan last season. So he played in the Championship at Queen's Park and played in the Premiership with Dundee last season. He's someone that you might have saw a wee bit more of, James. He's someone that last season, when I watched Dundee, was someone that was quite impressed with. I just like his range of attributes in terms of winning the ball back. He had those kind of like telescopic legs that he seemed like a really awkward midfielder, but also really good on the ball. And I just look at him as thinking we've talked about a potential Benny replacement or depth to Benny Beningame. He's someone that kind of ticks that box, fulfills that role.
I think he's probably capable of it. Yeah, like I'll be honest. I don't think he can do it to the same level that Benny does, but I think that'll be the case with basically anyone you bring in. There's not many players that can do what Benny does, but yeah, he's a player I've seen him a fair bit actually, because I've watched him a lot when he was at Queen's Park that season. Was very impressed with him then. It was clear it was. I think it's probably fair to say he was too good for that level. I think that's
yes.
And so it was interesting to see how he handled the step up with Dundee, and I think you're right. I think he did give a good account of himself. I think he did make that step up pretty well. He's a bit of an all-rounder. He's kind of like a typical number 8, I'd say, in that he can do a little bit of everything without being, like an expert at one thing. So he's not like, you wouldn't describe him as a playmaker. You wouldn't describe him as like a ball-winning midfielder. Someone who kind of does a little bit of everything. But I do think he's got the kind of the natural attributes and the natural talent to potentially do that kind of number 6 role, I think, instead of Benny. So, no, yeah, I think he's certainly a really interesting player. Obviously, he's a player who knows Scottish football really well after spending the last 2 years here, because he's a Crystal Palace player, isn't he? Yeah. So again, you get that experience where he's came from a Premier League club where he's presumably had excellent coaching all the way through that, ground facilities, all the rest of it, and he's also got that grounding in the Scottish games and knows what to expect. So yeah, I mean, I think it seems like on paper, like, I can see the attraction. I can see why Naismith's interested, if indeed he is. I guess it's one of those things that, again, it just comes out of money, doesn't it? Like, I don't know what Crystal Palace want. I don't know or anything like that. Maybe it's a good deal. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But certainly in terms of could Boateng, come into the Hearts squad and play a role between now and the end of the season, absolutely. Yeah, he's definitely a player who I would think, if Hearts were to sign him, maybe initially brought in not to be playing every single week, 90 minutes. Maybe he's got brought in initially in that kind of understudy role, but it wouldn't surprise me if he then kicked on and it did become a regular. I think he's another one of these players, similar to the likes of Penrice, similar to the likes of Danda.
Yeah.
I think he's a wee bit younger to me. I think he's about 22, 23, Boateng. But, they've proven themselves at a poorer SPFL team. They're ready for a level to move up a level, and Hearts seems like it could be a really good destination for him. So I'd be interested to see if that. I kind of hope that does go through, because again, I think, like I say, he's ready for that step up, and I'd like to see what he can do in a better team with better players around him, etc. Yeah,
I'm fully on board with that. I do. I think that's his natural progression. Gone from Queen's Park and Preston Championship, gone to Dundee and done well in the move up to the Premiership, and then like I said, natural progression is to play for Hearts. He is 22. I think it's a really good point when you compare him to he just turned 22. Earlier this month he turned 22. So there's a lot of there's obviously a lot of promise and talent there to work with, and you look at him, maybe doesn't have to, because of the midfield options, doesn't have to come in and hit the ground running. You've got kind of space to build there, but having this guy come in and know Scottish football, having played in Scottish football at a young age, he would certainly tick a lot of boxes. So the more I've been thinking about it, more thinking, I do think it's a encouraging bit of business.
The other thing to say on it as well is just that, obviously, you look at his age, 22 years old. Spent last season at Dundee, the year before that Queen's Park, with the greatest will in the world. He's not going to be a Crystal Palace player, is he? If you hit that age and you're still getting loans out of Dundee, then you're probably not going to make it in the first team there, which is fine. That's not anything to be embarrassed or ashamed about. That's fine. It's an extremely high level. Maybe he's not cut for it, but that's okay. But then that would seem to suggest that probably Palace, I would imagine, are quite happy to just get a deal done, basically, just for everyone's sake. So
exactly.
I think it seems like it could be a really clever addition.
I mean, Crystal Palace in their midfield have got the likes of Adam Wharton, that England international, and Jefferson Lerma, Colombian international. So it's no slight not to make it at a Premier League club.
Exactly.
We Gaz G asked what's going on with the Hoff. I think that's it's a very good question. You'd hope to be back pre-season in Tenerife, but the hamstring injury is, I think it was worse than first feared, and they had to basically continue to monitor it. And I think there was getting a specialist to look at it, I think, from what I can remember. So yeah, I would imagine if Boateng did come in, that Hoff might have a bit longer spell on the sideline. So I'll we'll find out. We'll be speaking to Naismith on Saturday at the Fleetwood game, so I'll find out a wee bit more about the Hoff. But yeah, by all accounts, it doesn't seem like he'll be back by the start of this season. But we'll see how that. I'm just googling. I remember reading about his injury, and I think it was just one that they're looking at. That was it. It was he was sent for. He's had to have an operation. It was more than that. Is that because of they thought they got back from a hamstring injury, but it wasn't clearing up properly, and I think Hoff was having issues with it, so they had to have a second look at it, and he's gone for an operation. That's what it was, just to provide a bit of clarity to that. You might be able to answer this, James. Can Jamie MacDonald be registered in the European squad? His registration, instead of, say, Ryan Fulton, would take up a homegrown spot and free up another for an outfield player who would miss out. I think that sounds plausible, but I don't think that's going to be the case, because I think he's signed for the B team.
I was going to say, I think it comes down to whether or not UEFA consider the B team to be a different team or not.
I believe they do. Right.
I would think in that case, then the answer would probably be no.
But it's because it was
because if they were to consider them, but then no, because players from the academy were on the bench and stuff. That was fine.
Yeah.
They can get promoted because players from the B. No.
Is it because
players under a certain age in the B team can get promoted? But obviously he's way over that. So no. I'm going to stick my neck out and say no. Although it would have been a very clever bit of recruitment because again it could have freed up another spot. Because like Harry says, exactly that. Yeah, like right now, chances are that would be a homegrown slot, which, as we've talked about before, those are essentially right now Hearts have to select a smaller squad than they'd perhaps like to because they don't have enough homegrown players. If he was to fill a spot, that then frees up spot for somebody else to get in, which would have been very nice. I can see the logic, Harry, but I'm not entirely certain, but I'm caught 90% sure that that's not an option this season, sadly. But it would have been nice. It would have been very nice.
Yeah. I think that's the age comes into it, but we'll do some digging and try and clear that up over the next couple of days to see if that is a possibility. And before we finish up, we will talk about Hearts Under Live. Myself and James will be in the Gorgie Suite on Tuesday, 20th of July at 6:30 p.m. with special guests still to be announced, and it's in partnership with Big Hearts. So essentially we're going to be doing a season preview, looking ahead to the Rangers game, looking ahead to the upcoming campaign. We'll get a look ahead to the 24-25 season, where we're going to be playing in Europe, going to be playing Scottish Cup, League Cup in the league. There's going to be, so kind of preview, looking ahead to that. There'll be a Q&A with kind of both us and any special guests. Plus there'll be a quiz. I think there'll be some really good prizes on offer. Talking signed balls and a shirt, and there will be a raffle and stuff from Big Hearts as well. So it's opportunity to look ahead to the new season, and also raise a bit of money and awareness for Big Hearts as well. So it should be fun, should be hopefully entertaining, and hopefully we'll be able to announce some guests in the coming days, which will hopefully entice people to come along more so than myself and James.
Well, in terms of the enticement factor, I think you might have forgotten the two most enticing things that are on offer, which is a pie and a pint, right?
Pie and pint, yep. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's 15 to come along, but that does include a pint and a pie as well. So I think it's a decent offer. It's a decent price, and hopefully we'll put on a night that people will enjoy, come along to, and looking forward to the new season, especially starting with Rangers at Tynecastle a week on Saturday.
And the best part is that stuff won't actually be recorded, so we can be perhaps a little bit more forthright with our opinions than we are in here. We'll tell you what we really think.
That's why I'll probably not be able to have a pint or two before going on, so that'll be risky. But be sure to, if you're interested, check that out. We have got something on the site about it. There will be a link to the tickets within that. There's I've put it in a description of the show here. There's a link to the website, and you'll be able to find tickets in there if you fancied coming along. We would very much like to see as many people as possible. So that's next Tuesday. Hopefully see you there. But until later on in the week, we'll be back either probably Friday, looking ahead to the Fleetwood game on Saturday with another video. But until then, please check out the site. There'll be plenty of things to read, other things to get your teeth stuck into. And until then, enjoy your night. And Jim, thank you very much. We will see you next week.
Yeah, see you there, Jim.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.